Hello guys, it's me, Greed here. Today I thought I'd talk about the 5v5 games that I played recently. I haven't played 5v5 really since 6v6 came out. I've played very little of it, so I thought it's been a long time, let's give it a try. Let's see how bad it really is. Is it as terrible as I said it was? Well, in fact, it's substantially worse than I ever said it was. So I played a game on each role. I played Zarya, I played Soldier and Genji, and I played Moira. But on Moira, I just perma-flanked all game because I was like, what can I get away with when there's no off-tank? And the answer is absolutely everything because they just can't mark you, so you can just kill everything in the backline as Moira. So I'm just going to say it, Moira's an overpowered character in 5v5. Anyway, my tank game went about how you'd expect. They walked out on a comp that wasn't a big deal for Zarya, so I had a relatively easy time. I was baiting out a shitload of cooldowns, I was killing a lot of people, I was harassing the shit out of the Reinhardt, and then after like one or two fights, they immediately counterpick onto like Mei and Bastion and all this other shit, and the Reinhardt just perma shields me all game, and it's like, it felt as though it went from being like, oh, I can do whatever I want, I'm a superhero, to I literally can't do anything anymore. I just didn't feel as though I had any power, because there was, you know, I mean, they had so many characters that were just so good at dealing with me that I felt as though the only option was to swap. Like, when they were on Widow, it got to the point where the Widow was literally only shooting me, because all she had to do was headshot me, and then that means I can't kill anything in our team, I can't pressure the Rein, I can't break the shield, I can't do anything, right? So the Widow just started focusing me, and then I was like, okay, what do I do? Like, as a Zarya player, how do you deal with a Widowmaker shooting you? And the answer is absolutely nothing. There is nothing you can do. You will simply have to accept the fact that there is nothing you can do. And that's what 5v5 is to me, is when I was playing it, I felt as though it had nothing to do with how good or bad I was on any of the roles. I felt like the game took zero skill. Not zero, obviously, that's hyperbole, but not nearly as much skill as you would think. At some points, you would be like, okay, if a good player was in this position, they would win this. If a bad player was in this position, they would lose this. You would expect that to be occurring with every decision. Every possible decision in the game, you would go, okay, a good player is obviously going to make the good decision, which is going to lead to this outcome, which is better. But in 5v5, it didn't feel like that. It just felt like there was nothing I can do. If I walk into their backline, I'm going to get hit with I'm going to get a Widow headshot, I'm going to get walled immediately, the Ryan is going to throw up shield, and they're just going to shoot me to death, so there's nothing I can do. Okay. Well then, as a good player, I'm going, okay, well, I want to avoid all that. I'm going to go on an off angle, I'm going to try to flank a little bit, I'm going to try to take a lane. The second I leave my team's front line, the enemy team speed into my team and just slaughter them because my team doesn't have a tank anymore. So I can't, my job as the 5v5 tank is stand on main, receive bullying all day, get hit all the CC on you, everyone is shooting you, you're not allowed to go on an angle, you're not allowed to actually shoot anything, you just have to stand there and absorb all the damage so they can't walk on your team for free, which is fucking boring. So this game, the enemy Reinhardt was having no fun at all because I'm a billion charge Zarya in the middle of his team all game, so he just has to perma-shield me. And I'm having no fun because I'm just shooting a shield all day, and I'm not allowed to flank around it or take an angle around it, because if I do, he can just walk into my team for free and kill them all because his team has a tank and mine doesn't, right? So it didn't feel as though it was a game of skill. It felt like I was just playing against the characters or the heroes that they had picked, not the players themselves. That feels lame. It felt as though on tank you had no option other than stand main and receive all of the crowd control abilities on you, and if you didn't, they'd be used on your team, and if they're used on your team die. So you just have to stand main. It felt as though there was zero decision making, and it all comes down to the hero you play, which is a miserable experience for both me and the enemy tank. I don't think me or the enemy tank had any fun this whole game, because what can you do? He has to shield all day, otherwise I'll kill him and his whole team with 100 charge, but I have to be permanently pressuring his shield, because if I don't, then he can walk forward for free. So it's just, I'm shooting his shield while he's standing there shielding for 20 minutes. You know what I mean? And I dropped like 50 kills this game. I was like 50-3 or something. And it was so boring. It was not fun at all. I can't imagine why people go into this game and queue this format on purpose. I actually asked my teammate on my team, a Sojourn player in this game, I asked him why he plays 5v5. And his response was that he's just used to it now. He said, I'm just used to 5v5. Which means my argument of people would play 6v6 if it was the main mode is still correct. Because that guy, the only reason he's playing 5v5, as he said, was because he's just more used to it now. And he's more used to it now because it's been the main mode for the last 3 years or whatever, right? So, there you go. Anyway, on to my DPS game. I got Junkertown, so I thought, okay, let's play some Soldier, because it's been a while since I played some Soldier. They, immediately, my team didn't ban the right characters, so I was playing to Freya all game. What can you do? This would happen in 6v6 as well. This isn't a format problem. This is just Freya being a bullshit hero and my team not banning them because we had a Freya player too. So, biggest issues with playing DPS in 5v5 is something that you would expect to be a good thing, but actually turns out to be a bad thing. And that's the amount of space that you get for free, that you don't need to fight for. So because there's only one tank, a tank can only mark one angle, or can only fight down main, and can only do one thing at a time. Which means space is naturally more open. It's more accessible by default. So there are more people going to be on those angles, right? What this means is, when you have characters like Freya and Ashe and so on, it means that they just get to do whatever the fuck they want for free. Because, especially when you have two of them, because if my tank goes off to try to deal with one of them, the other one gets the free space and the free angles, right? Now, to be fair, I'm playing like ass this game. My aim is terrible. I'm not playing very well. It was my first game on in a few days, and I was really not that motivated to play, and I wasn't really having fun. So, I'm playing like shit. I'm very aware I'm playing like shit. So, a lot of my reasoning for stuff will not just be, oh, I'm playing like shit, and that's why I'm saying it. It would be like that regardless. So, second problem, obviously, playing into the super tanks, dude. The super tanks are so boring. It is incredibly boring when the tank decides you are his victim, because you can't do anything. If the D.Va is on me this game, what do I do? She's got enough DM to DM everything. She's got enough armor to just soak all my damage. She's got enough damage to just nuclear bomb me in 2 seconds. There is nothing I can do. If the super tank decides that I am dead, I am simply nuclear bombed. There's nothing I can do. There's a point later on in the game where I'm in their backline and I nano visor, and the D.Va flies over to me, she DMs me for 3 full seconds or whatever it is, then the DM drops, and then he just like body blocks me for the whole time, and then my visor finishes, and then he puts up DM again, and then I'm running away, and then he just micro missiles me to death and I die. And it's like, what could I have done better? Obviously, yeah, play in a space that's less accessible to the D.Va, obviously, there you go, that would have been it. But with certain angles, like if a D.Va is standing in a certain place, basically 90% of the possible angles you can play are by default locked down by the D.Va, and all it takes for the other angles to be locked down is for people to be occupying them, or for people to be paying attention to them, because it's not just the super tank, right? So all the other heroes that are also enabled by the super tank. Look at my Kiriko here, by the way. This is your average 5v5 support player. Look at that guy. Anyway, so yeah, playing DPS in 5v5 wasn't fun, because the amount of space and angles that are given to you for free, I don't find to be really all that interesting. I like fighting for an angle, I like earning the map control, whereas in 5v5, you're given it for free, and it makes the game kind of boring, because then it becomes very, more poke heavy, if you understand, right? Since there's no way of really being able to force people out of angles, because of Season 9, and because of the amount of healing there is in the game, the amount of self-sustain there is in the game, and so on, and the healing passive, it means that even if you do shoot someone down to like half HP or whatever, you have not won the map control, you have not won the angle, you haven't won the space, you haven't won anything. You're just making it so that that guy's just not peeking you for 2 seconds before he peeks you again. Whereas in Overwatch 1, that's call for, we're pressing W, let's go win that map control, let's go do something, let's earn that, do you know what I mean? Your tanks would walk forward, you would win that space. Whereas in 5v5, that isn't possible, because if you try to push on that space, you don't have enough players to naturally control your portion of the map anyway, which you have to naturally give up map control to win enemy map control, as well as the fact that your super tank, if they decide to try to take that angle or whatever, the enemy team super tank gains a big advantage because they're able able to occupy main while your tank wins an angle. Which, again, means the enemy super tank wins because they get to win main, which is the objective of the game, basically, if you're pushing cart, right? So, yeah, playing DPS was not fun at all. It was a lot of shooting someone down to 1 HP, and then them running away, and then them coming back and shooting you with burst damage again. And there's no way to get them off the angle, there's no way to kill them because they play in the cover, your off tank can't enable you to go and do something because you don't have one. It just felt like shit. The structure and the flow of the game was gone. It didn't feel like Overwatch, it felt like two players it felt like a custom game, right? Where we're both just continuously poking each other, but neither of us can do each other unless we kill each other unless we one-shot, right? Because it takes too long to kill someone because it's Season 9, which means they've got such a long reaction time available to be able to get away from you before you kill them. But you also can't run them down because if you do, the super tank will blow you up, or you're not going to be able to generate any of the space because you have a tank that isn't going to press W on that because they want to stay main or whatever reason. The game just feels like shit. It feels like it's impossible to punish anyone at all unless you're one-shotting them, and the game was just generally very boring as 5v5 DPS. It was not fun. I can't believe people play this on purpose. So next was my support game. This was the last game I played, and this was after I had realized, oh, there's infinite map space or map control. I can kind of just do whatever the fuck I want because I can't get marked. So I was like, what if I just played Moira and flanked all game? If there's no one on the enemy team that can stop me because, well, there's not enough people, can I just win by flank? Yes, you can. Moira is the best flank hero in the game, which is what I've discovered from playing in this game, because nothing can stop you. Nothing can come back. If the only thing that can maybe kill you is the tank, and if the tank comes back for you, well, then you win, because you win all the map control, right? You win the space, because you force their tank to come back. But, so if they don't come back, well, then I just kill the enemy team for free. It was so bizarre being able to perma-flank like this on Moira and to never be punished the whole game. Because, like, what are they going to do? If you come back for me, I win. But if you don't come back for me, I kill you, right? No, obviously, in a higher level game, they wouldn't let me do this to this degree, right? The Ashe would poke me out or whatever, and then we'd go back to playing other stuff. Now, this was like a diamond lobby, so obviously, I could get away with a lot more, but the fact of the matter is, if you're on Moira in 6v6, you shouldn't be able to do this by default. You shouldn't be able to do this, period, right? And this is a big problem with support in 5v5. The amount of resources between a 6v6 game and a 5v5 game isn't that different. The only difference is that there is less tanking resources in a 5v5 game, which means there's the same amount of support resources between a 5v5 game and a 6v6 game, meaning the support resources are more concentrated and thus more effective, and they're less spread out, which means they're applied to the same people more often, meaning you need less of them, which means you have like a surplus of support resources that you don't need. Therefore, instead of being in a position to utilize those extra support resources, you could instead just be a DPS character, which is what a support character is in this game. Because with the removal of an off tank, it made it so the supports were too easily diveable, because there was no off tank to help peel for them or anything. So they were given a lot more dueling potential, so that they were less easy to kill in the flank and so on. And then that basically just turned them into DPS characters, because you were still given all the support resources you had before, but now you also had all the dueling potential of a DPS character to be able to fight off DPS heroes, which means you're basically just a better DPS character because you are a support character that with all the abilities that a support has, but with all the same damage output and fighting ability as a DPS in order to have an actual fair matchup against them for when they dive you, because there's no off tank. Meaning that when I was playing support, I wasn't playing support, I was quite literally just a DPS character, because that's what they are in this format, which is bad. So not only are the support resources more concentrated, which means they are more effective in their range, they're more likely to be bursty, they're more likely to be applied correctly because there's less places they can go, they're less likely to be wasted, there's more of them by default. You're also given all of the dueling potential and DPS capabilities of a damage character, and it just becomes like role is obviously brain dead. It is subjectively the easiest, most brain dead role in the game, and it's also the most fun. And it's the most fun because you can do whatever the fuck you want with no punishment. Because what's gonna happen? Oh, is the DPS gonna come and duel me? Good luck, buddy. Because I'm just a DPS character. Oh, but it's fine, I can also heal my team, and I also have really broken ultimates. It just, support in this game felt like baby mode. It felt like I was a toddler, and I was at my, like, uncle's birthday party, and he was letting me win in the game. Do you know what I mean? It didn't feel as though anything was earned. I just felt like I just won the game by default because I'm a support character. And whenever I lost an engagement, it also felt like I lost purely because they were a support character. Like BAP MO or something like that. Which is what they started doing. They just started locking MOs and high health characters, so it was less likely for me to kill them. But, you know, obviously that didn't stop it. It just made it so I burnt through all the resources faster. And then, yeah, it was just a fucking shit show, dude. This game was terrible. It is what it is. I think this game is really awful in this format, really awful. Honestly, I don't see the appeal at all for any reason as to why you would play in this format. It just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel rewarding. But it is what it is. People play this mode on purpose. Honestly, I'm gonna say it. I think the reason support is so broken is because it sells the most skins. I think it's the same reason that Kiriko and Mercy haven't been fixed yet. I think it's the same reason all the support heroes take basically no skill outside of like a few of them. But it is what it is. I love you all. I hope you have a good day. I will see you later. Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.